If anybody told me 5 years ago about an hour-long daily news show covering multiple headlines focused on cannabis-related news stories, I would have laughed you out of the room. But here we are. And there's never a shortage of fresh material for us to sift through each morning when the team picks the headlines that they believe matter the most. That being said, the illegal and racist war on drugs is now pretty much universally accepted as a failure that did more harm than help. And more people than ever today have access to accredited studies touting the medical, social, and cultural benefits of cannabis. A huge pivot away from the reefer madness bullshit that has dominated for nearly a century. However, due to the same 24-hour news cycle that gives us an insatiable thirst for clickbaity articles with vague headlines and a failure to dig deeper into who's behind this article or what special interest group is funding that one, the algorithms go crazy promoting polarizing shit because it sells. Which is why it should come to no surprise to anybody that one of the biggest stories to hit this week, with most outlets, mainstream and underground, giving their own take on it, is my headline: Daily marijuana use outpaces daily drinking in the U.S., a new study says. I chose the Associated Press's version because all the others I came across and ended up reading were a lot more heavily slanted to one side or the other. So AP's Carla K. Johnson reported that for the first time, the number of Americans who use marijuana just about every day has surpassed the number who drink that often, a shift some 40 years in the making as recreational pot use became more mainstream and legal in nearly half of U.S. states. In 2022, an estimated 17.7 million people reported using marijuana daily or near daily, compared to 14.7 million daily or near daily drinkers, according to analysis of national survey data. In 1992, when daily pot use hit a low point, less than 1 million people said that they used marijuana nearly every day. Alcohol is still more widely used, but 2022 was the first time this intensive level of marijuana use overtook daily and nearly daily drinking, said the study's author, Jonathan Calkins, a cannabis policy researcher at Carnegie Mellon University. A good 40% of cannabis users are using it daily or near daily, a pattern that is more associated with tobacco use than typical alcohol use, Calkins said. The research, based on the data from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, was published Wednesday in the National Journal of Addiction. The survey is highly regarded as a source of self-reported estimates of tobacco, alcohol, and drug use in the United States. You can head to high9news.com for links to the study, or just Google cannabis news today, and you'll find no shortage of outlets giving their take on what the data means, and you can dive deeper if you want to. I'm not going to do that right now. But to me, finding this AP version that I'd say is more balanced than any of the others that I found is still striking a negative tone by insinuating cannabis is just another vice Americans are wasting money on now that tobacco fad is finally dying out. Why not highlight the positive news that Americans are now consuming more medicine than poison? Why not focus on the data now supporting the fact that we're choosing to live healthier lives and consuming substances that chill us the fuck out, rather than encouraging bad choices and violence? When the moneybags behind the scenes cherry pick studies like these to promote and feed to mainstream news outlets and their algorithms with the aim of making us worry about the inevitable negative effects of marijuana taking over all aspects of our life, it makes me love and appreciate what we do here at High at 9 News that much more. When I first saw this study emerge a few days ago, I was like, duh, pretty much a non-story in my opinion. But now that the coverage has grown from obscure medical blogs and small cannabis-focused websites to ABC News, Fox, The Guardian, and every other Bilderberg-controlled entity, I knew it was time for us to give the most balanced take, given the diverse personal and professional backgrounds of the correspondents on our show every single day. That being said, more cannabis is being consumed daily now than alcohol, a day we all knew was coming for years and that I believe should be celebrated. I want to hear what everyone else has to say on this one. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Let's talk about it, man.
Yes, this is great news. This is great news. I mean,
should be celebrated. It's
yeah,
like, yeah. This is America's new vice. Oh, fuck out of here. This is the new age, thinly veiled reefer madness.
Exactly right.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rico. I loved your take on it. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. And I cringe every time I do hear the comparisons to alcohol. I mean, to alcohol and especially tobacco. But you're right. We should be celebrating. This is that many more Americans now choosing a cleaner way, a cleaner path than what we have been before, and it should be celebrated.
So you're saying.
I think harm reduction is something that we should bring out and talk about openly, because alcohol is a poison and cannabis is not. That's basically a starting point. But what more evidence do these policymakers need to understand that you cannot enforce a prohibition against cannabis today because way too many people use it? They're going to waste resources, and as we've seen, they're going to be the wrong people going to jail for this shit. And we need to back away from an enforcement model and look at more of a harm reduction and health model, and recognize that this country breeds a lot of despair, and smoking a joint helps with that. It's safer than fentanyl or coke or meth.
Weed is safer than fentanyl. We should put that on a t-shirt.
Yes. Yeah, I'm high.
Right?
At least it ain't fentanyl.
Exactly, right?
Get over it.
I'd rather get high than die. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good one too, Stone. Man.
I just think it's fascinating, man. It really is just to witness this plant that never should have been made illegal finally gaining social acceptance this wide, despite the century of damage inflicted by the prohibitionist policies. So whether you partake or not, it's just interesting to see how our vices evolve with time and policy.
I mean, I think you could.
What about you, Elise? What are your thoughts?
I agree with everything that's been said. Alcohol is a cancerous neurotoxin that destroys lives. And cannabis is an herbal remedy that is an exit drug and has helped many people get away from alcoholism and addiction. And not saying that alcohol should be illegal, but cannabis should not be compared to alcohol nor tobacco, in my opinion. It should be more compared to all of the other like nootropics and herbal supplements that are out there that you can take, again, in my opinion.
I agree with you. It should be treated more as like a nutraceutical.
Yeah.
Over the counter.
We still have this legacy, though, and this is at the turn of the 20th century, where Protestants primarily, but they were strict prohibitionists that took over and drove the restrictions of all sorts of substances, including alcohol, morphine, things like that. We haven't lost that. And still the thought that you take something that's intoxicating is immoral, it's sinful, it's bad. We need to get rid of that shit. Erase it from the blackboard and leave it alone. Because using something that's intoxicating is not a sin, it's not amoral. And we need to, get far away from that, because that was the excuse they used. You're being a bad person by doing these things. We're going to punish you. And the response is, yeah, go fuck yourself. It's safer than drinking. And my family sold alcohol and sold tobacco, so I get it. We made money off that stuff without concerns of the health. But nowadays, the health of people who use these different substances, you should be your own best doctor. Look at what's best for you and use the things that make you better. And, the rest of the world trying to tell you you're bad, tell them to go f themselves. Not their business.
That's right. And on that, I think we should just keep this train rolling and roll right into a commercial, because Dale has already contributed to the cup today.
Tip jar.
Yeah, tip jar. Shout out Dale. Yeah. Yes.
Let's get our merch going. Let's print up them shirts.
Let's get it. Let's get it rolling.
We're dropping slogans here.
Yeah, we're going to roll right into a commercial. We're going to be right back.